Welcome to another Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the Connection Show this week. Each Monday we have different organizations come in and tell us what's going on around the area. We hope we get that information out to the public so that you know what's available to you, particularly with organizations that offer a lot of services. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We've got two different entities here today to talk about very important programs here in the viewing area.
Is it better to be strong or smart? Well, when you combine a class-leading 999cc engine with the industry's first and only intelligent four-wheel drive system, the answer is simple. It's better to be both. The Pioneer 1000 Limited Editions, the newest members of the growing Pioneer family from Honda.
We'd like to tell you our reason for raising the minimum legal sale age of tobacco products from 18 to 21.
We will not be Big Tobacco's replacements for those who die each and every day from tobacco-related illnesses.
18 and 19-year-old tobacco users are a major supplier of tobacco products for younger youth.
Raising the legal age to purchase tobacco or nicotine products to 21 eliminates access to those suppliers, giving us a brighter future, a tobacco-free future.
We are loud and proud, and we will define our own future. For more information, visit sosprojectprevent.com.
This message is brought to you by your master tobacco settlement dollars at work.
Hamilton Berger takes on MeTV's #1 attorney, Perry Mason.
Any objection, Mr. Berger? I object. Objection. I object. Overruled.
Will Hamilton Berger ever beat Perry Mason?
Don't bet on it.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Our first guest in the studio today comes to us from Inland Waste Services. Inland Waste Services takes care of all the trash service, recycling, etc. for the city of Harrison. And we wanted to talk with Keith Richardson today, who's the division manager here. And they've got some issues that they need your help with. And we do appreciate you coming in, Keith. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome to Harrison. You've been here about how long now?
I've been here about 2 years. Yes.
About 2 years. Like it here?
Love it. It's like being on a vacation every day.
And I think you told me you come from Memphis, is that correct?
Came from Memphis.
So you came from the city and to a small town area here, and it's quite different. But we are in the Ozarks, so to speak, kind of in the hills, a little different terrain than what you have down in the Delta Valley, down in the Memphis area, down that way. So.
Right, and again, I used to vacation here, and now I get to live here, so it's wonderful.
Don't have to come back to vacation. You're here all the time, aren't you? Keith, the reason you and I talked, and Inland's having some issues in Harrison with the way people are treating their trash service, and not just trash, but of course recycling is very important today and has been for a long time. Probably more important today than ever before is to keep as much as we can out of our landfills and recycle it so that it can be reused. And it saves money. It saves a lot of the materials. It's the type of thing we need for the environment as we go forward for this generation and generations to come. I know you're having some problems, and some of it's just accidental. Obviously, some people accidentally put the wrong thing in their trash bins. Explain just a little bit, Keith. Now, you have the two different bins for the city of Harrison. You have one with a gold top on it and one with a blue top, both
right.
Blue cans.
Correct.
The difference between the two. Maybe okay. I'll just let you kind of go through that.
All right. The one with the yellow lid is for recycling, and the blue lid is for trash only.
Okay.
And it's not an issue just with the city of Harrison. It's actually nationwide, and you might even say worldwide. The Chinese market has put a limit of 0.5%, and that's half of 1% contamination. So it's almost impossible to reach that goal. So again, it's not something that's just happening in Harrison. It's all over, but it's a real issue that we are left to solve the problems at this level. So.
Okay, so I know, like a lot of countries and worldwide, you're talking about the Chinese, so obviously they're buying recycled material because they're one of the major manufacturing countries in the world.
Right, and they control the market.
They control the market in recycled materials. The percentage seems low, but I'm sure the contamination level doesn't take a whole lot of just garbage, I guess, if you will, and we're going to talk about some specifics here in a minute, to go into your recycle bin to contaminate that recycle bin. And I know recycle, as far as you're concerned, as far as inland and many other, you have to send that to a recycling center somewhere. You probably Northwest Arkansas maybe is where you go with yours. Is that correct?
That's correct. We send ours to Mark's Recycling in Rogers. They've said that we're at about 30% contamination, wow, which is a long way off from a 0.5%.
Wow. So how does that work for inland? You send that over there. Do you get charged? Do you have to pay them anyway, or how does that? Do you get paid if it's clean recycled material, or do they, when they reject it, do you have to take? What do you do with it?
Well, prior to this year, there was not a charge for delivering it. They processed it at no charge.
Okay.
That's gone up considerably now. We are working with them to get the price down with some other cardboard and other items, commodities that they want. So we're looking at ways to hold that cost down.
I was looking at the list that I have here from inland, and here just an example. And Keith, I want you to kick in here. Normal recycle stuff that's accepted. Of course, aluminum cans, plastic jugs, milk jugs, etc., corrugated cardboard, cards, letters that you get, so forth like that, file folders, paper towel rolls, anything that's cardboard, paper related, I guess is pretty well recyclable, as most paper products.
Yes.
Recyclable, I would assume. Newspapers, if you get a newspaper folded up, you can recycle it. Phone books, you get a lot of those coming through that you can put in, and that goes in the yellow topped cans. Is that right? All of that type of stuff.
Yes, it all goes in the can.
What do you find the biggest problem as far as contamination? What do you in your recycle bins? Is it just real trash, just garbage, or?
There is some of that. There's a lot of food waste that goes in. One of the things that people are probably not aware of is that the items that go in, even if it is all plastic bottles, if they put them inside a plastic bag and tie that bag up, when it gets to the end user, when it gets to Mark's kicks those items out as trash because they have a conveyor system running with people actually hand sorting, and so when those bags come up, they don't have time to tear open all of the bags. So even though you may be recycling correctly, you could be not disposing of it the way it should be, which it should be loose items.
Okay. See, and I'm sure a lot of people maybe in the viewing audience, I didn't think about that. That's something, so I've learned something here today, is that if you've got milk jugs or water jugs or water containers, plastic, don't put them all in a trash bag and seal it up and then put it in the yellow top container. That's contamination, or it messes the process up. Is that correct? So
it would just run off the end of the conveyor as trash. So
okay. So I guess what we're saying is that people out there that really have in the back of their mind they want to recycle and may have good intentions, their intentions may go awry because they're doing it incorrectly.
Correct.
That seems to be a problem there. As far as recycling other products, you have a facility out here, the Millbrook building. I call it the Millbrook facility. But if people do have other products, what's some of the other things that a lot of people don't know how to get rid of some of these products or waste products?
Any of the old scrap metal that you have, that wouldn't necessarily go into the recycling containers. You can bring that out to our facility. You can drop off household hazardous waste, paint up to 6 gallons per trip. Any of your cleaning solvents, you can drop all that off. Glass bottles, we ask that they be separated by color. Anything that's listed on the items as far as plastics, cardboard, we have a place for that, and we separate it. And again, it's taken 2 marks.
Wow. So people can actually bring this. I remember at one time, seems to me like, or maybe where I lived before, they charged you for that kind of stuff. Can people just take the product like that you just mentioned out there?
Right. There's no charge.
Okay, so there's no charge to that.
TVs.
That's very important.
TVs, old stereos.
Okay. Are you? I know your list here is fairly long. You got several items that should be and should not be a part of the recycle program. Is there a way that people can get a copy of this list, or are you going to put any in water? One time you talked about maybe putting a list in the water bill statements and stuff. Is that still kind of a plan down the road?
That did go out this past month.
Okay.
And so everyone who receives a Harrison water bill should have gotten a copy of that.
Okay.
Also running ads in the local newspaper.
Okay.
And we're on TKO talking about it.
Right.
So we're trying to get this information
the word out. Yes, okay. So if you're not sure, give them a call. They probably prefer you to give them a call if you don't understand it. But if you've got that list in your water bill, keep that list handy. Keep it there in your kitchen or wherever next to your trash cans, posted on the wall so that it, when you put your trash in there, you know where it goes, and that'll help. A reminder, I should say.
Right. One of the big issues that we have, another one, is food products. Anytime you put food inside a container, it goes into the back of a truck. Any item that food comes into contact with is now no longer recyclable. So you're not only messing up your can, but you may be messing up a half a load of truck.
Oh, wow.
So food contamination is really a big no-no.
Yeah, well, I hadn't thought about that. You contaminate the whole truck, not just the container itself. Before we run out of time, and we're going to put some of this on our bulletin board and so forth. Anything else that you want to mention there? And then I want to bring up just the spring.
Well, I would like to mention that when you place your cans at the curb, if you would leave a 5-foot space between the cans or any other item, mailbox or anything like that, the trucks usually need that much room to operate, and it helps the process along if they don't have to get out and move the can. Okay. And it would prevent some cans from being knocked over. Those are big arms, and they really, you don't have a whole lot of control as far as inches. Okay. So that would be a big help.
Keep them clear away from the mailboxes.
Right, and 5 foot between the cans, if possible.
If possible, so they can pick that up. They've got a automated arm that goes out and picks it up and dumps it, so
right.
It makes a big difference. So, we're running out of time here. I did want to bring up, you're doing the citywide spring cleanup.
Yes. This
year. That's again part of the program that you do with the city of Harrison.
Right, and we're excited about that, and it depends on which ward you're in. We'll do the Ward 1.
Ward 1 actually starts April 30th through May 4th, and then they go Ward 2, May 7th through the 11th, Ward 3, May 14th through the 18th, and then Ward 4, May 23rd through the 25th. So
correct.
That's kind of the way you go.
So you need to have all your items out at the street that Monday morning for the day that your ward starts. We make one pass through every street. Once we go down that street, we mark it off, and we don't come back. Yep. So it's not that you have the whole week to put those items out. They need to be out at the beginning of the week. Okay. So make sure we get everyone.
Yeah. Again, that's a service that they provide to the city of Harrison. So if you do have things, like old clothes, furniture, those type of items, again, you can get a list if you'd like from the city. They have one down at City Hall.
Yes.
I notice they've got a list down there. So if you're not sure what to put out. Keith, we had so much to talk about, and then we'll have to have you back in here and talk some more. But we do appreciate you coming in and voicing some concerns that people can help you with out there. If you live in the Harrison area, Inland handles all the trash and recycling for the city of Harrison. So help out. Take that list that you got with your water bill, keep it close, and make sure you try to not contaminate the recyclable. It's good that you're recycling, but if you're just doing part of the job, then you're eliminating the process of actually recycling, which is the whole thing that we're trying to do here. So
yes, sir.
We do appreciate it. Keith, thank you for coming in today and telling us how we can help out and keep the recycle program going. Keith Richardson, the division manager for Inland Waste Services here in Harrison, talking about some of the problems they're having with recycling. Help if you can. It sure makes a big difference. We want to keep our generation and generations to come where they can recycle and keep these landfills from filling up. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk with a young lady that's coming in from Youth Bridge, but it's a whole new program there. Stay with us.
We all need the help of a pharmacy from time to time. Sullivan Pharmacy would like to thank all their customers for supporting them as an independent local pharmacy. When you trade with an independent pharmacy, you deal with an owner that supports the local economy and charities. Visit Sullivan Pharmacy for any of your over-the-counter or prescription needs. It's important to keep helping those that help the community. Sullivan Pharmacy, 731 Main Street, Harrison, serving this area since 1965.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the Connection Show this week. Our next guest in the studio has been with us recently. I've known her for a long, long time. She's got a tremendous feat as a position that she has because of some of the things we're going to talk about here today. Shauna Burns is with us from Youth Bridge, but we're going to talk about a new program that's under the umbrella of Youth Bridge. Shauna, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
When you were here last time, we kind of talked about this new program, but you had so much to talk about we didn't have time to touch on it. So thank you for coming in again.
Thanks for having me.
This program's called Building Bridges TDT. So maybe kind of tell a little bit about it, and then we'll get it.
The Building Bridges is a therapeutic day treatment.
Okay.
And so basically, Youth Bridge, we're there to serve the needs of the community.
Okay.
And Vantage Point was another provider that was in our area that closed down back in November, December. And so they had this program. And the program, we had a lot of people in the community and the schools being very concerned on what's going to happen if this program is not here anymore. And so we, as a treatment team and as a company, looked at it and realized this is something that is very much needed. And so we took the program on. Okay. And the program is really, it's like a day treatment program. Okay. We provide the education piece. But it's really more for those students who struggle behaviorally or emotionally, and they really have a hard time learning in the education environment in the schools. And so when they come to us, we're providing that education piece, but we're also providing the emotional and behavioral support. And so they get the therapy, they get groups, and our ultimate goal is to get the students where they need to be so we can get them back in the school, acclimate them back to the school environment. So.
Gosh, I don't have to tell you, but I have a friend that we were just talking about a while ago that does a lot with the Harrison School District, and has to do with the homeless and so forth. Mental health is a big, big problem, isn't it?
It really is, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yes.
I mean, it's something that we know is not going to go away. Unfortunately, right now in the state, there's a lot of cuts that are happening in the mental health world. So I encourage everyone to speak out because the problem is getting bigger and the funding is getting less. And so it's really a tough time right now in our state. But we always say we've been here for 50 years. We're a nonprofit. We're going to find a way to do it one way or the other. But there's a lot of kids out there that need help.
I've heard so many good things about Youth Bridge since I moved back here years ago, and you've come a long way. You've moved around a little bit and small little 1-2 room type thing
Yeah.
to where you are. You're down by Sullivan Pharmacy.
We are on Crandall
right
Street.
on Crandall.
Right behind Sullivan Pharmacy.
You got a bigger spot.
We do. That building is actually ours, and so on one end we have the outpatient clinic, where we have several therapists that work out there, and then on the opposite end is our new program, our Building Bridges. We also, we are expanding. We have a Dr. Reese's office was there at one point, and so we're looking at remodeling and expanding into that as well.
So you'll have that whole wing.
Yeah, have more room. We're looking forward to that.
Before you've got some questions I want to ask, but I got this. It has the use of drugs through the years, which have gotten worse. Talk about the opioid epidemic that's going on nationwide right now. Methamphetamine has grown through the years. They went from making to it's coming out of Mexico now, and it's even stronger and more dangerous. The drugs itself has a lot to do with what you have to deal with, too.
Absolutely.
Either directly or indirectly.
Absolutely. It's very, very, very sad. But yes, there are. That is so rampant on our streets right now. I actually had a police officer the other day tell me something that was told from a parent too, but heroin apparently is starting to come in our area. They're starting to see bits and pieces of that. I mean, it's it's very, very sad. Something has to be done. You know,
and many people don't think about small towns like Harrison, Arkansas, as having drug problems, but it's everywhere. It's just that the numbers go down the smaller the community, and the bigger the cities. Of course, obviously the numbers go up. How would someone? What kind of criteria? Or how would somebody get into your program?
Into the day treatment. Well, we take referrals from parents, schools. We prefer it from the schools because we want the children, the students, to be in the less restrictive environment. We want them to be in the school systems. However, if once again the behavioral issues or the emotions are just too much, then the perfect referral would be from the school, saying basically, we need your help, we want your help. However, we have had referrals where students have just dropped out of school, or it's just been a struggle to get them to go, and so the parents will reach out to us. And when they do that, we do an assessment and we look at all the needs and start looking at different ways that we can implement services.
Wow.
So,
obviously, you have specialty people that work for you at this facility. Are they the same that, let's say, over in the Youth Bridge area as in the building? Is it the same type of qualification?
That's a good question. We have the mental health clinicians, and so we do have a couple who are on the outpatient side who will come over to the therapeutic day treatment side and pull the kids for individual one-on-one piece. But we do have a full-time team over on the day treatment. We have the special education teachers, we have mental health professionals that are assigned solely to the program. We have a therapist over there who's phenomenal, Miss Tina, and she's assigned solely to the program. But with our growth, we've been growing quite a bit, that we've realized we've got to have more help. And so we're actually hiring as well right now for more therapists, because the program is expanding and we need help. So
I think I read something or saw something nationwide. There actually is a shortage of people that are going into the mental health field at the wrong time. We actually need more. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. And I think from my experience being in the field for about 13 years, there's always really been a shortage. I wouldn't doubt it that it's getting worse.
Right.
I think the mental health world is tough. You know, you work with these kids and you work with adults and you take on their trauma, and you know, there's a fine balance in not taking it home to your own family. And so a lot of times you'll see turnover, and I know we've heard that before. We've had that as well. You know, when you have turnover of mental health staff, and I think the best explanation for that is, you know, it's a hard field to be in. The things that you see, the things that you hear are heart-wrenching. And so there is, a need now more than ever. And I think that it's just growing. There will continuously
I
be
could see where that would be a big problem, where you would tend to, in many cases, want to take it home with you.
Absolutely.
And when, you know, I mean, because of the heartening situations in a lot of these individuals.
Yes.
I know you were, at one time, I think you were going to have a playground area. Are you still working on that?
Yes, actually we are. We're really excited about that. There was a piece of property behind our clinic, and there was a little house there, actually a couple, and so we just finalize that, and we're super excited. Now we've got to move the houses, and there's a lot of work that's got to be done. But one of the things that when we took over this program, the program where it was sitting before had a few acres of a yard area that where the kids would go technically for playground. There was no equipment. There was a broken basketball goal. It was really sad. They didn't even have a playground. And so a lot of the staff would say, man, we just want these kids to have a playground. And so our CEO is awesome. He loves kids, and that's one of the first things he said is, we're going to figure out how to get these kids a playground. Wow. So it's a big project. It's, you know, we're not going to be able to fund that overnight, but yes, we really want to build these kids a nice playground. So.
I know the area you're talking about. Actually, it'll be nice. I guess they'll move those little houses out of there, but that's perfect because it's kind of behind your facility, and you'll have a fence around, I'm sure,
directly behind it,
and it'll make that corner complete with your building and your expansion program and so forth. We've got about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
Your funding, how do they do the funding? I mean, you don't turn anybody down, I'm sure.
Right, that's a good question. Now, we are funded solely through Medicaid, and we take different insurances.
Right.
Now, the therapeutic day treatment right now, it's a very new program, and Medicaid is the funding source for that. There are different ways. I mean, there's cash pay, those kind of things.
Right.
But understanding that program is a very intense program, it's not cheap. It takes a lot of funding to be able to operate that. Yeah. As an agency, we're constantly looking for grants. We're constantly looking for ways to fund different things. You know, our school-based mental health programs, we have grants that we're able to implement there so that we try not to turn anybody away. I mean, there's periods of time to where you can only serve so many. Right. But our day treatment program right now is solely Medicaid based.
Okay.
So,
I knew you were heavily into the Medicaid side of it, but actually the program you're talking about here that we're talking about today, Building Bridges TDT, it's a good fit for the Youth Bridge program, or I guess the umbrella side of it. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a great continuum because what we do on the front end is a lot of prevention. So we're in the schools, we're providing mental health counseling on the front end. Our goal is to keep these kids in school, keep them getting what they need, learning, and that kind of thing. When they get to that level where they're not able to function, then it's a great extension because we can work with them in a basically all day long setting to where we're providing everything they need in that education piece. And our goal is to get them where they need to be and then get them back in the school. So it's kind of a continuum of services, kind of when it works like it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And so it's just a great extension of what we do.
Yeah. So obviously your goal is to get them to the point where they go back into society, if you will, back into school.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good. Is there any length of time, basically, average?
We're new at this. We just started in January, so I think we've acclimated a couple of students back.
Okay.
But it just kind of depends on the level of trauma, and where they're at. I wanted to mention a couple of things, too, that's real exciting.
Okay.
We have a parental support specialist who's also there, and one of the things we've incorporated in our program is that she goes into the homes. We want her basically helping at home, too, with these families, because it's not always just the issue with a child. Many times it's these families that really just need so much support. And also parenting classes. We've incorporated that as a part of our program. We want these families getting parenting support and helping them basically from the root level all the way up.
Sounds to me like you're touching a lot of people and in a very tough situation where people are involved. Thank you so much for coming. We cover a lot of stuff in a short period of time.
Thank you.
Shauna, I appreciate it very much. Shauna Burns, Youth Bridge, their new program, Building Bridges TDT. If you have any questions or if you know of somebody that needs services like that, go down and see them. They're easy to find right behind the Sullivan Pharmacy, right on the corner of Crandall and Main Street there. You can't miss them. Thank you so much. Good luck, and get a hold of me in the future. I know you said we got another program we can talk about in the future. We want to talk about.
Talk all the time.
Thanks for joining us on Connection. We hope we brought some information you didn't know about. We'll see you again next time.
KTKO Channel 8 Harrison, local television.